Greetings and salutations, this is Pandora the Eclectic, and we're going to look at something on YouTube. Oh joy. Okay, and it's going to be something real fun. Real fun. Yeah, come on. Come on, let's get all loaded up. Sorry. Takes a while. I really don't know what that's all about. I'm sure it'd be interesting, but then again, I don't trust a lot of that. I'll have it down a little bit. That's okay. Yep. As you can see, you know we're gonna be looking / staring at. And when I say staring, yeah. Let's just be honest. I've had some issues with Jenny Mcdermott, and justifiably so, not because she's smarter than me. So, Jenny, that's what you're thinking? Yeah, get that thought out of your head right there. However, you have been making some really stupid videos as lately, and I kind of feel like calling you out on it for once. Well, actually, no, I have had some of your videos already, so yeah. And boy, I already saw this one. And yeah, it was a nightmare. So, just complete freaking stupid. Why does this woman open her mouth and think no one's gonna criticize her on what the fuck she's saying? Let's see. I believe we're going to look at one that you made. Oh, here we are. 11-minute video. And it's called I'm Not an MRA. As you see, it's already got a lot of views.
How long do you have?
An answer that's just one word. How limiting. How absurd. I won't let anyone put a label on me based.
Yeah, good.
Before we begin,
Then we get to the size that I want to see or deal with. Oh god, too much face. Too much face. Ugh.
let's put everything on the table and define what exactly an MRA is. According to Wikipedia, which is the best source of information on this subject, as the men's rights movement isn't renowned enough outside of the internet to exist inside.
Yeah, because that makes plenty of sense, Jenny, because... Yeah, because it's not like you can't look up these words separately, like my friend Dr. Random McCann did, and on Rant-a-Zerker. I didn't watch the entire video. I quite enjoyed the beginning of it, but it was just, well, I had to get other things done, and I watch a lot of people who disagree with feminists, like our friend Jenny does. And they have justifiable points, but you know, that's for saying for another video. Anyways.
Webster's Dictionary. Okay, so I'll read fast as fuck so I don't bore the shit out of you. The men's rights movement, MRM, is a part of the larger men's movement. It branched off from the men's liberation movement in the early 1970s. The men's rights movement is made up of a variety of groups and individuals who are concerned about what they consider to be issues of male disadvantage, discrimination, and oppression. The movement focuses on issues in numerous areas of society, including family law, parenting, reproduction, domestic violence, and government services, including education, compulsory military service, social safety nets, and health policies that beliefs discriminate against men. Scholars consider the men's rights movement.
And Jenny, that is what they do. I have plenty that do fight against these kinds of things. Because the problem is, feminists don't care about their rights, yet of course they claim to, or have claimed to. And, well, yeah. Sorry. Hey, you're not in any place to say that's not the case. It's because, here's the thing. If anything, feminists also like to say that there's a lot of sexism towards women in these very areas, and look at what we're doing for them. Yeah, I see very little being done for them in that. And as you see, it's going to talk about the backlash to feminism, but you get the idea.
Or parts of the movement to be a backlash to feminism. Men's rights activists contest.
Mostly feminist scholars. Well, if that was an actual, if it was squallers, but yeah, I guess squawkers. Scholars. Yeah, the scholars are probably feminists themselves, believe it or not. There have been a lot of feminists who have taken over academia. Problem is, we can never get you idiots to accept the fact that it does, and maybe that's why, the media seems to take a lot of sides with you idiots on a lot of things.
Claims that
not because you're right.
Men have greater power, privilege, or advantage than women do, and argue that the women's movement has gone too far and harmed men, especially in areas related to child custody, child support, and in division of marital assets during divorce. Claims and activities associated with the men's rights movement have been criticized by scholars, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and commentators.
Now, back to the, before we continue on, I'm going to stop right there. It says, men's rights activists contest claims that men have greater power, privilege, or advantage than women do, and argue that women's... First of all, I have yet to see anyone who says they have privilege or power. They may have advantages in some areas, and you might, for example, yes, men do work harder than women. Yet for some reason, feminists can never accept the fact that, yeah, maybe the pay-wage gap, gender pay-wage gap doesn't exist for this reason, because you guys we don't work as hard as men do. You don't want to accept this fact because, I don't know, maybe you think we're supposed to pay for everything that you own without having to do all the work. That's what it is. Anyways, privilege? No. More often than not, I hear feminists use the, hey, well, you're privileged thing. And power? I hate saying this, there are about the same amount of women in positions of power as there are men. And, I mean, I hate saying this, I think you could look at Congress, I think there's about the same amount. You can correct me if you want to, but I'm sure I won't be hearing much of anything. Or if I do, well, you know.
Some sectors of the movement have been described as misogynist. Relation to feminism. Scholars consider the men's rights movement a backlash or counter-movement to feminism. Bob Lingard and Peter Douglas suggest that the conservative wing of the men's rights movement, rather than the men's rights position in general, is an anti-feminist backlash. Masculinity scholar John...
Now, of course, I hate to say this, if it's an anti-feminist backlash, it's only an anti-feminist backlash, because, I'm sorry, we just happen to disagree with you, and you guys don't like that, now do you? Well, and that's it. That's the only reason why it's a backlash. We can test you, you don't like it, so there. However, I think if you wanted to know anyone who actually has a true, honest backlash to you idiots, they're called masculinists, not feminist, and it's not MRAs, men's rights. It's activists. I'm sorry, but they wouldn't go. Sorry, I think masculinists might be the ones who are doing this. And even they, same way with feminists, you idiots are the ones who go around with the word feminism. He's a female might say, a thing that is a quality that of pertaining to women. And, but, yeah. Or believe that, I don't know, women are powerful when you think about it. That sounds more like it makes sense, but anyways, you guys don't want to believe that, though.
Anthony Allen described the men's rights movement as a reactive movement, which is defined by its opposition to women and feminism.
Reactive as in they actually are saying, hey, where are my children? Do I have rights over those? No, sorry. Privileged boy. Kill him. Blah, blah. Yeah, that sort of thing. They're only reacting because you are hurting their rights. If you would stop doing that, then maybe I could see where you're coming off as they're being reactive. Yes. Okay.
But which has not yet formulated its own theories and methodologies outside of anti-feminism. The men's rights movement consists of diverse points of view which reject feminist and pro-feminist ideas. Men's rights activists have said that they believe that feminism has overshot its objective and harmed men. They believe that rights have been taken away.
Really? It hasn't hurt men somehow, Jenny? Give me an example how it has not hurt men. Or has actually done any good favors in men's positions. Oh wait, you can't. Or at least it's not good enough. But one. Okay. Or has not hurt men in the recent years that they've been talking about. Or recent 30 years, I guess.
For men, and that men are victims of feminism and feminizing influences in society. They dispute that men as a group...
Well, let's see. Where can I begin where you guys have hurt people? Well, let's see. You've made it where, basically, yes, most of the time, when I went to, and I did not know this, but a lot of education, and that's intended, that was once intended, I have attended in the last several years, has been made more in favor for women like me. Okay? For women. So, and I mean like primary school age. They have kind of flipped it around so that way it can work in favor. or so I can. Because the thing is, girls, we're better studiers. We're better at doing our homework and keeping up with that stuff. However, we fucking suck when it comes to text. However, guys, albeit they're lazy and maybe have issues with homework, they are excellent, far more excellent on tests, at least according to some people that I've heard. Let's see. Another is, you guys have to do the don't, teach boys not to rape thing. Because, yeah, guys wouldn't figure that out at all. Because they're just too freaking stupid somehow. Oh, let's see, another. What other things involving feminism or things? Let's say. Oh, yes, another is the pay wage gap. Do you realize how much money it takes to pay for a woman to be working? Because you're taking the context that, hey, what if this said woman wants to have a child? Or wants to settle down and get married? Hey, most people like to say that's sexist. How dare they make that assumption? However, a lot of women do. So, what are they not supposed to do? Not assume? No? Because if they don't assume, then someone else is going to get offended. Remember? That's why they had to take it out for that. Also, insurance. Yes, because even though the irony is, men are doing most of the work where they could actually get hurt. Right? And they're doing the harder, or more physically demanding part of the job. Okay? They're the ones who make it most of the, workplace accidents and stuff. Of course, that's because they're stupid, right? Yeah, whatever.
Have institutional power and privilege, and believe that men are often victimized and disadvantaged relative to women. Men's rights groups generally reject the notion that feminism is interested in men's problems, and some men's rights activists have viewed.
Really? They reject it? Gee, I can't imagine why, because I assume most boy babies wanted to have themselves circumcised, Jenny. Yeah, I believe lots of girls want to marry, want to marry a man that'll do everything for them, except tell them, no, I don't want to do this. Oh, also, yes, I'm sure all men want to go to divorce court and have themselves completely have their life savings and whatever completely taken away. Because, oh yeah, they didn't, And also, another is launched in court because some woman didn't like the fact that he sleeps just a little too much, too close in the bed to her, okay? Just saying.
The women's movement as a plot to conceal discrimination against men. Reactions/criticism. Sectors of the men's rights movement have been viewed as exhibiting misogynistic tendencies. The Southern Poverty Law Center has said that while...
Yes, because feminists never do anything misandristic towards men. Oh no, feminists would never do that. Like, I don't know, Jessica Valenti, or say what was it? The potty mouth princesses. Or heck, even you sometimes, Jenny. You have said some misandric things. Now, why do you say? Maybe you need to get a point across. Frankly, I think after a while, I don't think it's to make a point. I think it really is that you mean it and you're pissed. But you do not want to accept that, now do you?
Some of the websites, blogs, and forums related to the movement voice legitimate and sometimes disturbing complaints about the treatment of men, What is most remarkable is the misogynistic tone that pervades so many. There are more than a few members of the atheist community who claim they are not MRAs but are vocally anti-feminist often. Whether they choose...
I hate to say this, but they have the right to do that if they want to, Jenny. Just like you have the right to say misandric, stupid, idiotic things, which I'm sure feminists do far more than these people do without being contested on it. Why can't they? I go with the ideas because we do still view women as victims. And this is not because of patriarchy or anything. That's because we don't want to see, we feel someone who is weaker than another person wouldn't necessarily lie to us, okay? Why would they lie? It's not like they could benefit. I mean, after all, they could get their faces messed up, right? However, it happens probably more than we want to believe. It's not saying we should go up and beat up these particular people, whether they be women or men. But at the same time, you gotta be real, Jenny. That might be part of the reason why. Right. Anyways.
To identify as a member of the movement or not, these YouTubers have contributed greatly to the online harassment of feminists and women, and I believe they are the source of the disgusting and foul misogynistic things that YouTube trolls say. How? For one, they're YouTubers with larger...
I hate to say this, but these YouTuber trolls that say these nasty things, here's the thing. I happen to be one of these said trolls. And you know something? I'm capable of taking up responsibility and saying to people like you, Jenny, fuck off. Also, I can be held responsible. I don't have to blame someone like Anita Sarkeesian. I don't have to turn myself towards someone like TJ the Amazing Atheist. Yes. And say, yeah, here's the reason why I said this. No, I know myself, and I know I said something hateful that you and lots of people don't happen to like. Sorry. Your feelings were hurt somehow. I'm capable of taking responsibility. Hey, okay?
Channels with a ton of influence, and they use this platform to attack women like Rebekah Watson, Anita Sarkeesian, Lacey Green, Marina Shut Up, Senestrat1, Brian White.
First of all, yeah, we all wish Marina and all of those people would shut up, but yeah, you wonder why they're getting contested? And maybe it's because, let's see, Anita thinks she's a gaming journalist and she has the right to push her political or ideological narrative into video games, as if that would make video games better. Another. Let's see, Lacey Green? Oh my fucking god, if that woman would just get the fuck off of sex ed and just find something else to do, anything to do, it'd be nice. And do some of her own freaking research when it comes to rape, we'd leave her the fuck alone. Okay? We wouldn't have an issue with her. Also, may it just occur to you, you could also just find her freaking annoying. I mean, hell, just watching her videos, can't stand her. And then people like you, Jenny. Well, not people like you, Jenny. You, Jenny. Well, let's see. You like to go up against people like Sargon the Arcade, who turns out to probably know what the hell he's talking about. What you don't want is you don't want someone telling you to shut the fuck up. Or at least tell you that maybe you're wrong. But, God forbid we tell a feminist that sort of thing. Anyways.
I think Kevin Logan, and even I have been a victim of the harassment campaigns waged by these non-identifying, totally MRAs. I've heard the drunken peasants literally tell fans to go harass Atheism is Unstoppable. And I've seen Devin Tracy.
I'm sorry, but I'd like you to prove that in this video. Seriously, and I'm sure I might find them making fun of you, Jenny, or someone like, Atheist Unstoppable, but I have a feeling, again, Atheist Unstoppable might have done something that was warranted of that kind of mocking and jeering. Much like if I had said, well, technically, if anything, hey, if I said all women are total cunts. Yeah, and I guess you could call me out on it by saying, well, I'm not a total cunt. Though I'd probably tell you maybe that's the point. I said something outlandish, and guess what? You're jumping up and getting upset at something outlandish that I might have said. It might be, yes, I could say the women in my life are total cunts, sure. And someone might say, well, yeah, but that doesn't make me one. Again, identity politics right there, 101. You guys get pissed off whenever someone calls a certain group of people. Sorry, I have to catch my breath. Damn asthma. Sorry. But yeah, people like you out on your horseshit, or basically stating an opinion. Mind you, well, that's why.
Of Atheism is Unstoppable literally leave in the description in a video of mine that he mirrored for his fans to go harass me on my channel. Recently, in discussing a disturbing personal event that I have experienced, I began to receive harassment.
Again, I think the reason why they might have said to harass you, and I have a feeling TJ didn't do that. At best, it was probably what I like to call a joke. And probably because maybe it's just me, but no offense to you, they might have been making a joke about your face. I know one video you complained about this. That's where you were complaining about, like, well, he called me out on the way I look. I go, yeah, he does that with a lot of people, not just you, you dumb cunt. I call you out on the way you look. Mostly, I try to avoid it, because I think it's a very low thing to do. What does that have anything to do with what you're saying? However, it doesn't seem to be an uncommon thing for a lot of feminists to not look very attractive. And, or you act like you think someone is too old or whatever. Again, you don't want to be called out for the fact that maybe you're different from other people. Oh, okay. Much like it is with me. I don't like it when someone calls me or says, oh, well, I look 12. Also, I hate to say this, you're going to call other people out on their looks, too. I mean, I think you call out Sean Head because she looked like a child, as you said. Like she's 12. Even though I believe the woman is not that old. I mean, she's not that young. She's like probably, I assume she's like in her late 20s. But, I see nothing wrong with that. I don't look like conventional age. You know what? It works in my benefit because some people are that stupid. But they'll give me money or something. Because I look like I'm about 12 years old. Much like, yeah, they throw comments at you that, albeit are obnoxious, because you look older. But, funny thing is, I don't see you calling out someone who makes fun of someone else who looks like he's older, who's male. Or, I don't see you not, comment. Anyways, I guess I stop there. There.
From many of these non-MRAs within the atheist community, some of whom were the very same people to yuck it up and say that the SJW community were despicable over JJ's harassment by Abaddon 5.
No offense, but I haven't really watched anything by JJ, but I hate saying this. That's pretty much every single social justice warrior on the internet. I don't think JJ Talks is the only one, okay, who has done it so far. Who has opened her mouth and said stupid things. And then, obviously, doesn't like to be criticized and tries to use the victim complex yet again. Okay? Alright?
Oops, I wasn't supposed to mention his name because the difference between keeping up the silence and naming the assailant is monumental. She refused to reveal the name.
Right, because getting attacked on the internet is so upsetting to all people, or women, or anybody. Fuck off. But yeah, what is he going to do? Anyways. 1 minute. Just gonna pause there for now.
Name of her harasser publicly, and people applauded her and messaged her in private where she revealed his name. I told about 10 people that he harassed her as well in private around that time. Moral of the story, do it in private, otherwise get a shitstorm of hatred from the pickfuckers of the internet that subscribe to Sargon of Akkad, armored adulterous liar who caused a girl to commit suicide skeptic, shoe on head, law.
I believe, now mind you, this is old videos, because I believe you made another video saying, yes, this person had some, it turns out, oh yeah, I didn't know that she might have done it because, hey, it turns out it was a catfish situation. Frankly, I don't care. I think catfishing is stupid, but I also think you are kind of not very bright. But anyways, not all feminists, but you are not very bright. Based on what you've shown us. Let's see. But here's the thing. The relationships that most of these people have outside of YouTube are just that. Outside of fucking YouTube, it is not your place to tell anyone else. I'm aware of the fact that you thought yourself at the time was being hit upon and they liked you. But it turned out, they had somebody else in the wing. I don't know. Maybe Armored Skeptic doesn't like you and you were hitting on him, and yet this is how you reacted to it. But that's just me. I don't know about you, Jenny. Again, I don't really care that much about other people's relationships outside of YouTube. It's their relationship. It's not my place to do that unless I see evidence of it on internet with them involved in the fucking place. Like Onision, who's a feminist last time I checked. Okay? Oh, another thing is you go after Sean Head and, like I said, or you're about to go on to Mr. Ripshawn, who I believe, I don't think he's a feminist, but I don't think he's really opposed to some of the things in your ideology. He just doesn't agree with you being one-sided about it. That's all.
X, and of course, the drunken peasants. So how are the people I named MRAs? Well, let's have a look, shall we?
Well, now gamers are dealing with a new army of critics. Gender activists, hipsters with degrees in cultural studies. These critics are concerned that gaming is largely...
Okay, I have one thing to say about this. First of all, is Christina Hot Summers supposedly an MRA? Because last time I checked, she's a feminist, okay? She's just not a feminist like you, Jenny. Okay? She's just one of those feminists who actually goes, yeah, this is horseshit. The wage gap? Yeah, not real, not a thing. Okay? Yes, there has been things that have been hurting people. She's just one of those feminists who actually goes, I don't think I can agree with an ideology that hates men this much and goes out of their way to hurt other people, censor, and yet for some reason wants to censor me when I actually have a point. And because, God forbid. In fact, I think she's almost like a feminist Jesus. She's saying exactly what you wanted to hear. Well, some of it is what you want to hear. But being kind of a heretic to your group. Okay?
A heteropatriarchal capitalist pursuit. Why, they ask, isn't it more inclusive? Why must there always be male heroes? Why are there, why are females portrayed either as damsels in distress or sex objects? Now, these critics have made some useful points about sexist tropes and narratives, but they do a lot of cherry picking and they ignore the fact that the world of gaming has become inclusive. There are games that fit a vast array of preferences, and games with responsibly proportioned and appropriately garbed female protagonists. Yet the video game gender police have become so harsh and intolerant.
Yes, and see?
Relentless. Many of them want more than women on both sides of the video screen. They want the male video game culture to die.
Dear Professor Summers, I run a YouTube channel with the name of Sargon of the Cat, and I recently had a conversation with David Sorini about Gamergate and the documentary that he's making about it.
And I also want to bring up something about Gamergate. And Sargon. There's been plenty of cases where I believe Sargon has not been a sexist, has not been sexist towards women. If anything, at best, he's not really sexist towards anybody. Okay? He doesn't care he does care about video games. He just doesn't care about, sorry, that's not what I wanted to say. I apologize if I'm slipping over my words. It's my mind. I have a few things to say, but, sorry. Let's start off with Gamergate. First of all, Gamergate is not a gendered issue, you moron. So I don't even think this is a good clip for you to have in here of him being sexist towards women or criticizing feminism. Because let's just see fucking here. This is social justice warrior, and this is a Davis Armini thing, I believe. And some people had an issue with it, but only because, as Sargon's going to say, it's because the people in it, well, kind of afraid of what's going to happen to them, which is justifiably true. I have seen plenty of social justice warriors be quite hateful towards cis, white, heterosexual males. Why? I really have no idea. But that's what this is about, I think, kind of. At least one part of it. But, who knows? I'm not sure. I haven't really watched it from beginning to end. But I'm sure that they have a point. Yes, it's not. I've seen plenty of stuff that would argue, yes, social justice warriors, you might want to clean house. Or start realizing maybe what you're saying isn't going to get you liked anytime soon. Anyways.
Feminism, social justice, and video game culture called the Sarkeesian effect that he's making with fellow YouTuber John Boy. I wanted to deliver a personal message and make a suggestion that I think would be very good for everyone involved with gaming games, as with any fun project. Making the documentary is very difficult. Davis faces some particular challenges that don't normally crop up. And fundamentally, those challenges involve them being straight white men. I'm sure you'll be able to agree that in the current political climate, being straight white men isn't really to their advantage.
Hey everybody, this is just a quick video to cut in and tell you, do not give any money to the GoFundMe, or the Fund Anything campaign that Davis has set up.
To the thousands of men who turned their misogyny into a game in which gendered slurs, death, and rape threats are weapons used to try and take down the big bad villain, which in this case is me.
Well, I'm sorry, but there hasn't been much proof against Anita Sarkeesian that would argue that, yeah, she's a nice person. I mean, I hate saying that she blocked me, a black woman, on Twitter for using... Now, mind you, I didn't use a very nice word, and I shouldn't have said it. It offended her and probably some idiot and mangina he liked. I'm not going to say what names, but come on. And if anything, I shouldn't be called out on it. Because, one, How am I being privileged? How am I more privileged than a white heterosexual female? So, considering even though I'm heterosexual and not white, last time I checked, not white, not a white woman at all. Oh, and 20 years old, by the way, I believe age counts in somehow, too. Oh, and also, I'm not as rich as Anita is, right? But oh, wait, I don't matter. Yeah. Guess this is why I get the shield thing, but whatever.
Like yourself at home. What you come for? Places of their When women are used as sexualized experience point dispensers, the sexual scenarios are themselves more designed to validate the masculinity of presumed straight male players. But there's a dual reward here.
So because you can't play women in the fucking game, you disingenuous goddamn hack. It's starting to get to me. I'm starting to get upset by this shit. It's just so frustrating.
What caught my ear, though, is the line, designed to validate their masculinity.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate to break it to you, Jenny, I kind of agree with them. Because how does this validate their masculinity? I mean, if anything, it validates the not realistic female character in the video game. And I feel in some way, maybe this is to validate Anita's femininity, because maybe it's just me, but why would she give a fuck about this woman in the video game? Seeing as she ain't fucking real. She is. Okay? But that is feminism nowadays, or at least internet feminism at best, or third wave at best.
What the fuck does that mean? Did the devs get together and say, alright guys, we need to figure out a design that validates our players' masculinity?
Why doesn't she go a step farther and say that murder does that? Why doesn't she say that murder confirms masculinity? Because that's most...
She has. She said it about
She has said that?
Yes.
Murder is part of this societally version of toxic masculinity.
I forgot about that.
What really annoys me is the way that she's approaching this completely arse backwards. I think that I doubt the people who designed and make these games have actually got a specific target audience in mind. I think the target audience is whoever is interested. What I love most about this is her judging expression.
Yeah.
How dare you be looking at Playboy? I mean, look at the fucking school mom fucking expression she's got. Plaid shirt, fucking she is just such an old woman trapped in a young woman's body, and everyone else is having sex around her. Why are they doing this?
Don't get me wrong, I went through that phase when I was like, 13. But not when it had to go with sex or anything like that. Just as a kid trying to go, what the hell is all this? We didn't like this 2 years ago, yet now we do? So, it's like, but, yeah, they have a point. Anita, why are you being a killjoy? Just saying. Why be a killjoy?
No, put your burqa back on.
I think the term is Shu usually coins this middle-aged mom syndrome. That's definitely the vibe you get from her. Yeah.
Not only do these guys share almost to a T the opinions of well-known leaders of the movement, but they are combating feminism at every turn, attempting to silence assertive women, leading women.
Oh yeah, because I see how everyone at that talk that Nita was at was being silenced. Yeah, I see how they were trying to go and get her channel taken off. No, at best, I think feminists like you do that all by themselves. And you want to know why? It's because anyone who has a little bit of a criticism, you tuck and hide. Why do you do it? Because anytime you've had to do any real work, you feminists who have proven to be a bunch of lazy, obnoxious bitches, and not all feminists, third wave barely has this problem. Yeah. You guys will not accept criticism. You I accept it because it means you have to work and do research, and you have to take on something and work at something without having to do anything, without having to take any do real work, which is something you don't want to do. That's it. That's all it is.
And to believe that they are only as good as their appearance, which is objectification, bullying women.
Let me look up that word, objectification. Now, mind you, there are probably different ways to use this word, but I'm pretty sure the way you used it isn't quite it. Or, if it is, I don't think that's what they were doing. And funny thing is, you go out of your way to objectify others, Jenny, by saying that's all they're ever doing is criticizing feminists. That's all they ever do, right? And another thing is, oh, because they do this, they must be MRAs. So that's another thing. Yeah. So using this thing, I never thought we'd take this long. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. And I just thought that was an odd song, because when you really think about it, if Jimmy cracks corn and nobody cares, why does he keep doing it? Alright. Well, we'll keep going with the video. Oh.
Supporting lesser YouTubers who harass women online, speaking out against major feminist figures, and discouraging their subscribers from being educated on women's issues by creating a stigma about gender studies, which is an
right. And not giving, maybe, I don't know, telling them that, yes, it's not shocking or surprising after you've read this book that's supposedly about feminism, about, that is supposed to be about gender equality, that seems to go out of its way constantly to hate upon men. Yeah, you have no justification as a male, or as a man, to feel bad about it. You know, that you're the one to blame for every little thing that goes wrong in our culture, even though it's not. And there's justification and show proof of that being illogical and stupid. No, of course not.
extremely authoritarian move. What is more authoritarian than having your followers agree with you out of fear of being doxxed or having online harassment, while simultaneously creating a fear within them to learn anything on the subject? The MRA...
Okay, I hate to break it to you again, Jenny. These people that you're talking about, we're adults, or at least we are capable of using our brains. Thanks. Just because your audience isn't, doesn't mean Sargon's is, because, like I said, I happen to be part of Sargon's group. And, yeah, I plan on doing my own research, because as much as I love Sargon, I'm aware of the fact that he's a YouTuber, and you, just like you know, could be as big of a liar as anybody else. The problem is, people like you, do stand in the way of being liars, because you don't want to hear other people's opinions either, especially when it contests or actually will prove you wrong. Anyways,
are male supremacists, and they preach tinfoil hat conspiracy.
yeah, male supremacists. Yeah, they really think being a male makes them awesome. No. Because if that's the case, Jenny, I guess you must be a female supremacist. Yes, okay? I'm sorry to break it to you, but yeah. Anyways, continue.
Theories about women. If you want to know about women, past to present, rent a current history text from your library. If these guys have created a phobia...
Technically, it's not rent, it's borrow, because it's a library. If it was rent, you would have to pay. But anyways, I could probably find history that would probably back up that was suffragette history, that I'm a weak, incapable little girl who can't do anything for herself. Because that's another thing, Jenny. Even if I did research into feminism, I'm going to probably find out most of the feminists that were doing this stuff are probably suffragettes who thought, yeah, I hate, men were the ones who stood in the way of our right to vote. No, they just didn't, I hate saying this, the only people who couldn't vote were probably the wealthy landowners, which, by the way, were both male and fucking female. Which proves, maybe, I don't know, there were also male non-landowners that couldn't vote. Most of the time, yeah, it was just poor people who couldn't vote. And it took a while to get that. Why? Because I think it had to take time to prove that, hey, we were actually going to do it. We were actually going to be fucking informed. Also, it was probably better the landowners, the people who owned the land that these poor people work on, and for a living, had some say in the government. That's another thing. Okay. So anyways.
Of gender studies within you, educate yourself. These people.
Trust me, gender studies wouldn't prove feminism right. If anything, it might prove them wrong. Because maybe these theories and, like you said, gender studies, because actually it'd probably mean I'd take a feminist study, because it would probably prove that, yeah, I'm in the wrong about what women like or don't like, or how they feel. When reality is, we're the most powerful people in this country right now. So, likewise with men. However, unlike with men, who are always said to be the strongest and the best. Which, no, they haven't been. Okay? There has not been a patriarchal society, at least in America, for hundreds of years, and in lots of countries for a very long time. Because I think they either moved past it, or, like, women like me who said, basically, we don't need feminism, and we don't need these little protections anymore, okay? We're big girls now.
People aren't valid or credible sources, and
neither are you, for some odd reason, Jenny, yet you're taking an authoritative stance and telling me what to do.
Clearly, they lack the education to speak on these subjects with any sort of authority. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And just a little boundary I need to set up with you, my audience. I love the comment section of YouTube. I've had some of the most intelligent...
Then do us all a favor. Quit blocking the people who are saying hateful things. Because the thing is, I don't do that. I might block someone if they're getting too annoying, but that's it. I've only done it maybe like 4 times. And however, I allow pretty much everybody to have say in whatever they want. And when I did, I actually showed proof of what they said to me, and maybe, yeah, can't blame you for wanting to block the asshole. But while you just get offended and then say, blocked. That's what a lot of feminists do. The block button is your best buddy.
Discussions of my life there. But if you intentionally come to my video to say I'm old, or I look like a horse, or you're going to find where I live, I will shut my comments down immediately.
Really, Jenny, you're afraid that someone on the internet said that. You have no justification. There's no justification. It's just the fact that they said that. And you're gonna run and cower, yet I'm supposed to believe everything you just said. Yeah, good job. Good job. Good fucking job. Cunt.
Immature, don't fuck this up for the people who have an intelligent, opposing viewpoint to my own.
Sweetie, if it's immature, they won't care. The mature viewers probably just look at the comment that's being immature and say, go back to your room, Belly. Yeah, why not? Fine. Right? And that's it. And even then, really, Jenny, winning a battle in the comment section of any video is completely mundane and stupid. It's the last will and testament, much like a lot of things in this country and with feminism. Sorry, but it really is. Anyways, continue. And that's about it. At least for that. And as you saw, none of it got proven at all. Nothing to prove that all these people are MRAs at all. As they say on the internet, not a single fuck was given that day, and you will have a great day. Sorry this video was so long. I never realized how long I could make a video like this. Good grief. Anyways, keep it frosty. Hey, and see you later, Hoosers.